Welcome to In the Zoom Where It Happens with our host, Katie Vivas and Brandon Krekel.
Hi, I'm Katie Vivas.
And I'm Brandon Krekel.
And in the Zoom with us today, we have Heidi Thummel, who is the Director of Business Development with GBA. Welcome, Heidi.
Thanks, I'm glad to be here.
We're happy to have you. We'll just jump right in with question number one. And really just, we want to get to know you and your background and how you got involved with GBA.
Good. So I've been with GBA almost 14 years, and my role has changed over that time, but it's been really exciting to be at a company that's growing and evolving. And specifically right now, we celebrated our 50th anniversary back in 2019. And so since that time, we've experienced some growth. So we weathered the pandemic very successfully. And so it's a great company to be with.
Great. Tell us a little bit more about what GBA does. What's your focus, your mission, and just what it is that you guys are up to.
Yeah, so really at the foundation of GBA is engineering and architectural services. So George Butler founded the company back in 1969. And for many, many years, that is what we did, was engineering and architecture services, focusing mostly on transportation, real estate development, water, sewer, infrastructure projects. We then added building design services, so mechanical, electrical, architectural design for buildings and structural design. And then really over the last 15 years have taken that platform of GBA and built upon that a little, I don't know what's not really a conglomerate, but we now have 7 companies. So when I say it's kind of grown and evolved, it's because now we have 7 brands all working together. And the philosophy was really just to build companies beyond or around the services that we provide to better serve our clients. So the first subsidiary was GBA Builders, which provides construction management. And that was, again, based on a client request to do that within the pharmaceutical market. We also have a subsidiary called Viracon that provides building systems commissioning. So with those 3 groups, we've been full service to our pharmaceutical clients for more than 25 years. Beyond that, we have, and this was actually just a recent acquisition back in December, we acquired Comply, which is a compliance validation and asset management company that we also are serving our life sciences companies. So that's become a really big part of our business. We still do roadways, transportation, sewers, all those things, but the growth over the last couple of years has been very strategic around growing and thriving markets, and pharmaceuticals being one of them. We also have 2 companies that are more technology related. So we have GBA Systems Integrators, which works on communication systems. It started with integrating traffic control systems that we designed, and has now grown into, they provide remote Wi-Fi and lots of other fun, interesting, they've done school district broadband connections, fiber connections, lots of different things. And then our latest subsidiary roll-off was Alinix, which started as a way for us to provide services with a drone. We called it our advanced robotics and remote sensing unit for a while. And then just because of the evolution of that technology and us wanting to protect some IP, we separated it into its own company. So all that rolled up into about 350 people that we call the GBA team of companies, which are headquartered in Kansas City, but we have about 12 offices across the United States. And again, of those 350 people, about 200 are here in Kansas City.
Wow. So you guys were busy over COVID, and that's really exciting to hear. We're happy about that. So you mentioned 350 employees across all of these companies. How have you guys managed to, maintain the culture, especially over these last few months? I saw that you guys have a pretty robust young professionals group. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, about a year and a half ago, we discovered how diverse our workforce was becoming and wanted to do what we call employee resource groups. So we have a young professionals group, we have a women's employment network, we have a group of brewers, which are people who have an affinity for brewing on the weekends and like to share stories and swap recipes. So we really just try to take those cues from our employees of what are the different things that they're involved in, and then how can we support them and build that, kind of camaraderie around work. And it's awesome because we do so many different things that during a typical day, someone in one department may never interact with someone in another, but through these affinity groups, we've been able to bring them together around common interests.
Is there a affinity group for golf since you like to golf?
There is actually a golf league within GBA, and I think there's about 40 people who try to play. There's a golf course not far from our office, and so there's a league that plays golf too.
That's awesome. So backing up just a little bit, you guys have been part of all kinds of different projects across Kansas City and the country. And in some of our research, we learned that one of your projects was the Truman Sports Complex. What are some other pretty fascinating projects that you guys have had a hand in that you've worked on?
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I'm so glad that I was able to spend time with George Butler as we were kind of producing all of the collateral around our anniversary, because we did a really extensive interview with him and got to learn more about kind of those early days and how he got started. And actually, George was part of a land planning firm called Oshner Hair and Hair, and he said, you know, I'd really like to go start on my own. And so those partners said, well, that's great for you, but you have to take all the engineers. If you're gonna leave, you have to take the engineers with you. So he did, and that was one of the first main projects that they had, was the Truman Sports Complex. And so that was how we got started back in '69. They also did all the engineering and surveying for Johnson County Community College, which is another large project. We've been involved in the Executive Park, which is an industrial development in the northeast part of Kansas City that we've been involved with for now almost 50 years. And really just everything in between, from interchanges, roadways, bridges. We do a lot of work with Kansas City, Missouri and Johnson County on their sewer systems. And so it's really, there's not really that many, there's not a corner of the metro area that we haven't touched in some manner.
I love that. That's so cool. So 50 years is a long time. Let's assume we're around for another 50 years, right? What are we looking for over the next couple?
Gosh, you know, somebody just asked me that question recently, and it was even hard 5 years ago to predict that we would be where we are now. And I can't say that just was some luck, because it was intentional. We did a strategic plan in 2017. And at that point really said, you know, what are these things? What could we dream? What do we want to be? How can we serve our employees and our clients and our communities better? And so we have been pretty intentional about it. I hope to see the continued growth and, you know, market opportunities. And I'm sure that they will continue to come, because we have a lot of people that are working really hard. And you mentioned COVID. We just had our stockholders meeting, and I really, you know, commended them for the amount of grit that they've shown over the last year, because it took a lot of faith in employees and in our clients and our people to, you know, really jump off that ledge. Thankfully, we kind of all did it together with the whole work from home thing, and worked out. But no, to have this amount of growth over the last year and a half has really, really been tremendous. So
you guys have a lot of great things happening. You know, you've been in business for 50 years. You've had some incredible projects, growing staff team. What is something that you, Heidi, are most proud of whenever you talk about your work and your career with GBA?
I think it's definitely the culture that's at GBA. So just going kind of zooming back on my career, I graduated college from Nebraska Wesleyan, which is in Lincoln, Nebraska, with a degree in communications. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my career, but I applied for a job at an engineering company in Lincoln, and they hired me. So that's awesome. And I was happy just to have a job. I'm dating myself here, but it was right after Y2K. So like nobody was hiring. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I have a job, but I knew really nothing about engineering. There are no engineers in my family. But quickly after I got into it, got to understand the importance of infrastructure and how really a lot of people take it for granted. So there's a real innate ability and need for communication professionals within the engineering world. So speed up about 18 months, the company that I worked for had acquired another business in Kansas City, and they needed somebody to move here and help it grow. So I relocated here and have worked at that engineering company, another one, and then at GBA, like I said, for about 14 years. And just having been at different companies with different cultures, the one thing that I really like about Kansas City is that we keep our heritage and our kind of foundation going, but yet also have all of this exciting growth. And a lot of times it's hard to grow without breaking apart. And I feel like we've really done a good job of keeping kind of those core values and our core purpose at the helm as we've experienced all this growth.
Growth is good. We like growth a lot. Heidi, you know, when we were thinking about what this show was going to be about, we really wanted to kind of also get to know the leaders here that we interview a little bit. So, you mentioned golf. Do you have any other hobbies that you've been into these last couple? I mean, you kind of have to pick something up in COVID if you're working remotely or if you're working from home. What kind of things are you into?
Well, the one thing I picked up that I didn't really intentionally do was just cooking at home. Being a business development professional, I used to spend a lot of my evenings at networking events, and I was not home for my family a lot to have kind of dinner on the table. So being home during COVID is definitely, give me more time to go back to kind of enjoying cooking. I can't say I do it all on my own. I love Home Chef. I love that it all comes to my door and it's easy to put together. I'm home with my husband and my two girls, which they're 11 and 8. And so we've done lots of things. We live in a neighborhood that has a lot of natural areas. So everything from exploring the creek to we started playing pickleball, and we bought a basketball hoop. We go on bike rides. So it's really anything that we can do to get outdoors. We all four do golf as well. So we try to at least spend one afternoon in the summer playing golf together too.
So I think as we go along, we're going to have to just add a whole segment around golf to these. We've had a couple of others that we've talked with about golf. And so I'll ask you, same as we've asked them, what's your favorite course in Kansas City?
Well, I have to say Shadow Glen. I mean, it's on one of the Golf Digest top 100, and it's an amazing course. It's challenging. I have had the pleasure of playing a lot of other courses in Kansas City, and you really, you can't go wrong with golf in this community. We've got, beautiful landscapes and great courses. So it's a fun place to live and play.
Like, I'm just going to start taking notes should I ever get into golf, because my recommendation would be like putt at Dairy Queen. Like, it's not mine. So, anyway.
If we're still in the get to know me section, I actually just became a mentor with a new organization called Driving Pursuits Kansas City. And it's a group of women who that's all they're doing is helping other women learn golf. So really? I'm a mentor, but there are members they start with, like lessons with the pro and learning the course and learning the etiquette. But yeah, if you haven't, Katie, if you're really interested, you should check out Driving Pursuits Kansas City.
Writing that down. I absolutely am going to look into that. I love learning things, and that's a great applicable lesson. So yeah. Heidi, this has been really great. We love having you here. We have time for one more question, and that is, what's the one takeaway that you would like people to know about GBA and what you all do?
Yeah, so, engineering, Kansas City is a good engineering town. There are a lot of other great firms in Kansas City. So I think that is one thing that we are really working to promote. We're members of the KC Global Design Group. So just trying to help elevate that image of Kansas City as a great town for engineering and design, and to help to attract that talent and build the community that we have around architecture, engineering, and construction is just really exciting. So I think that's the last takeaway is just, being involved in the community. Kansas City has been great for that. And GBA is always ready to be a part of those types of initiatives that bring the community forward.
I love it. Congratulations on your growth, on your sustainability of your business in your model, and all of that you guys are doing. And thank you for being great partners of the community and the chamber. And we've very much enjoyed having you here, getting to talk with you. It goes by way too fast. We could sit and talk with you for much longer about everything that's going on. But thank you for sharing your time with us this afternoon and talking with us.
You bet. Thanks.
Thanks, Heidi.